Okay, you guys, no matter if you're training for something big or you're just trying to get lean and stay healthy, your body requires a lot of protein. In fact, around 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, cooking whole foods is best, but I'm going to be honest, sometimes I need help hitting my protein count with clean, on the go nutrition that works for both myself and my family. But that is a lot harder than it sounds. I've been searching for months to find a super clean, affordable protein powder that actually tastes good, has a full amino acid profile, and doesn't upset my stomach. Finally, I found Equip Foods Prime Protein. And seriously, you guys, I am hooked. Prime Protein has over 2,000 five-star reviews because there's no junk, fillers, or additives ever. Equip's unflavored grass-fed beef isolate protein powder has only one ingredient. All of their flavors taste amazing. Vanilla happens to be my favorite. They mix well. They can be added to countless low-carb and keto recipes. You can make a quick shake with just 1 scoop and get a 21-gram protein instantly. You guys, that's like eating 4 ounces of steak. Every single batch of Prime Protein is certified non-GMO and is free of glyphosate and heavy metals. If you need a delicious, easy to use, easy to digest, clean protein powder, seriously, you guys need to check out Equip. You can save 15% off with my code DRFIT, DRFIT, at equipfoods.com. And by the way, every single bag comes with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't love it, send it back for a full refund, no questions asked. Welcome to the Fit and Fabulous podcast with Dr. Jaime Seaman. Hello, everybody. It is Dr. Jaime, and welcome back to the Fit and Fabulous podcast. It's so lovely to have you here today. I'm super excited about today's episode. I have an incredible guest that I know is going to share so many powerful stories with us. And I just recently came on to Brent Yates, and I'm super excited to have this conversation today. So let me introduce you to today's guest. Brent Yates is a serial entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience and success as a business owner, philanthropist, and investor. He is a leader in the natural gas industry and an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year nominee. He's a coveted speaker. He's an author. I have his book, and we're going to be talking about that. But despite all his money and prestige, his life's journey has not been smooth or straightforward. And we're going to unpack that today here on the podcast. Brent Yates, welcome to the Fit and Fabulous podcast.
Hey, it's awesome to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I have Brent's book right here. So for you that are watching on our YouTube, you can see it right here. And it is called The Gravity of Up. And I've been starting to go through it. Full disclosure, I haven't gotten front to back yet.
It was 2 years ago when I wrote it, so I'm still rereading it going, now what did I say here? I did
that with my own book.
Yeah.
But what I want to start with, Brent, is you have a chapter in here called The Education of Real Life. And I know that you have an incredible story. So I want you to share that with our listeners.
Yeah. So, if I go back as far as my childhood, an amazing childhood, amazing parents. My dad was an entrepreneur. So that certainly went into me. My mom was an athlete, an amazing tennis player, golfer, had a really tough mind, a mind of an athlete, which that I'm a golfer as well. If you don't have the mind, like you got nothing, like you cannot be elite. You can't be good. You can be okay. You can be a weekend warrior, but on some level, do you golf by chance?
Golf is a very mental game. I actually grew up on a golf course, and my dad was a zero handicap golfer. And I played, and I'm not bragging. I mean, I was a pretty decent golfer. But around like age 12, I got into softball and really kind of put the clubs down. But in my adult life, I've picked them back up here and there. But I won't pretend that I'm any sort of elite golfer. But it's very much a mental game.
Yeah, 100%. And so I got the mindset, the athleticism from my mom. I played college basketball. I played on the pro tour. It was like a coastal golf league in Florida. I gave up my amateur status for just a few months at about 20 years old, and realized I wasn't going to make it as a golfer. And so I got serious then, met which became my wife, and had a couple kids, and went, all right, I have to take care of those children. So whatever it took, like I never wanted to say, no, I can't get you what you need. And so I think without having children, like I think I kind of drift in my book. I talk about wanting to be out in Hollywood being a stuntman. And so, as an athlete, as a guy who had a lot of advantages, I felt like I don't really want to grow up. Like if I can go play out there and do that stuff and be athletic and probably play a little bit of golf, I felt like that could be my life. And then I got married and everything changed. And so when that first child came, I got really serious about like, how am I going to take care of him and support my family, my wife. I had two more children, went into a family business at that point and just worked my tail off every day. And it was construction. So I think a lot of this evolves into, as we get in even to Ion, like I was 225 pounds as a construction worker just because of carrying stuff. And so carrying my tools, carrying bags, jackhammering, throwing gravel, but always moving stuff with my body. And into my 30s, I was like jacked, and my traps were like this high. And then I went into the business side of it and really grew the business and stopped doing that. And then it all went to my tummy, right? And then my diet didn't change. It was just what I was doing completely changed. And so as I got into my 30s and 40s, still golfed. I was a scratch golfer as well, and loved to compete. I have a Michael Jordan story that we might get into, but I was the guy, like up here, like on my home course, like I just felt no one could beat me. I think whether they can or they can't, I felt like they couldn't. Every time I teed it up, I felt like I was going to be the best. So I think in life, as an entrepreneur or what we do, if we don't have complete confidence in ourselves, like nobody else is going to have any confidence in us either. So, but kind of the short of it is I had some success in business, which you mentioned early on. And it just all kind of like, I felt I had it all figured out. Like I didn't really need anybody else. I didn't need anybody else to tell me what to do. Those successes led to a mindset. I kind of worked against life instead of with life, pushed a lot of people around because that was kind of my upbringing. Like no one will get on top of you. That was kind of my dad. The first time I came home and somebody was bullying me, he's like, that will never happen again. And which it didn't. Then I kind of looked for reasons for people to get in my way throughout my life. And that led to really where I ended up at 47 years old through a divorce, a lawsuit, a financial crisis was going on. Ended up with MRSA. I was on a crutch or a cane for about a year. My body had completely broken down. This is 07, 08. So 47 years old, had a lot going on, had some successes to a certain extent, but really my body broke down. Wasn't taking care of this, or my body in any way. And so kind of my story, and I think the quickest part is like I ended up in Phoenix, and people that came into my life, like I didn't know how to fix myself, right? But opening my mind up to I needed something different, to there has to be something different in my life. Just that going, I need help. God was number one, and grace came in, and like a trainer came in, which is a really cool story. It's a lot. The background of how I got to Ion is the trainer that came into my life. I wasn't looking for a trainer because I couldn't train. I was on a crutch when he met me. And then a wellness doc came in, a life coach in an amazing church out in Phoenix, and transformed my life over about a 2.5-year period to where I got to today. So I don't know if that went back far enough, but know that I went through a period where I didn't know if I wanted to live or die, made a decision to live, and here we are today.
I'm glad that you're here. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that you're here.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I experienced something similar when you were talking about being this like physically strong construction worker. I was a college athlete, and then when I went to medical school to become a doctor, suddenly I wasn't training like I was, and I was kind of eating the same diet, and I will admit it was not good. Everybody, my listeners know my story, and life really catches up with you. And I find working with patients that are, really what most people would define as successful. And I think a lot of people think that success is like fame and money. I think a lot of people think success is financial success. And I watch so many really high achieving men and women achieve such great success financially, intellectually, but a lot of it is at the cost of mental, physical, and spiritual. And I know that your book is like, those are like your 3 pillars.
Yeah.
So let's kind of unpack those a little bit. So from the physical aspect, you kind of said you got to a point you're dealing with this illness and this MRSA and just physically not the human that you were prior. Talk to us about what you learned about how to take care of yourself in a physical sense.
Yeah. So this trainer, I was in actually in Phoenix, and Camelback Mountain was in the background, and I was absolutely like I was on his gym level, not going into the gym, but I had a cane, and the guy comes up and puts his arm around me like unprovoked, like I don't even know there's a gym behind me. I'm just on a level where I can see over the kind of the houses or the hotel rooms and looking at this mountain. And if you've ever been there, it's
Yeah, I've hiked Camelback.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
not easy. It's like
so
straight up.
so the story, I'll get to that, where I end up, but the guy puts his arm around me, goes, "How you doing?" And as a 47-year-old, even though I'm on a cane, you never know quite how to take that. Are they saying, "Hey, you don't look like you're doing well"? So there's that. But with this guy, it was just so sincere. He takes me under his wing for a year and a half. We end up buying a house, turning it into a gym. Camelback was our challenge for like a year. And I'd never climbed, never, that was never me. I looked at him, but I didn't have time to climb mountains. But ultimately, we ended up doing that for time over about a year. But it's kind of like where we got to with the vest. Like that challenge is always there. Like every time you drop that on, and that mountain's always there for you. Like you can't get in. Like it's there. It's the challenge is there, and with you
Not
going
going
up,
away.
like it's not going away. And the faster I did it, the more challenging it became. And in my mind, I just kept wanting to run it faster. So, but I ended up bringing people out, and people in their 20s and 30s, and like I was the guy. It took 2 years to get there and get my body back in shape. But he taught me the physical and how to take care of my body internally, like all at once. This guy was like my guy. He mentored me through health along with some other people, but ultimately, functionally, that's where I learned the function. I learned center body, which I still promote today, and loading your body. And I tell people, they're like, well, how many core reps have you done? And I'm like, because that's what they'll see me do mostly, and it's in the millions, literally, and most of them are loaded. And so I'm not the strongest. I can't bench as much, but my core is, because it's the center of our universe. It's the center of everything we do, every movement we make. And so that came to me. Like if I don't meet that guy, if that guy doesn't come to me, again, I'm not sitting here today talking about wellness.
Yeah, age-related sarcopenia, which is this just like natural muscle loss that happens
Yeah.
if we're not really proactive about it. Most of the strength loss in older individuals is in their core and in their hip flexors, which is of course why it's difficult for grandma and grandpa to get up out of a chair, right? To just
Yeah.
do kind of these basic things. And your balance, right? Even just being able to like stand in your bedroom and put your pants off and on without having to hold on to something. But I think people too think that physical is just like lifting weights and it's your bench press and your squat and whatever, but there's so much more to it, like the nutrition and getting adequate sleep and taking care of yourself in those ways too. Was this just like for you, was this mental conquering of the physical pyramid, or what role did those things play in your recovery?
Everything, like really learning how to eat. Um, you know, um, like I ate cheeseburgers and French fries and all the stuff, fast food, and
You can get away with it for a while.
yeah, processed. Everything was processed. That's most of people's lives. And I learned how to eat clean. Somewhere along the line, he threw Jack LaLanne's book at me, and I'm like this guy had it figured out 60 years ago from today. And I was like, really, like that's all you have to do. And so I really look at him. There's a couple other people in my life that I look at and go, man, they're 80 years old, 90 years old doing handstand push-ups. And I'm like, with the advantages I have today with technology, with like both my shoulders have been rebuilt. I just felt like, well, I can be that guy. And so, but you have to treat it just as well internally, or you don't look well externally. And I had both of them going the wrong way, 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's get into the mental side of it
Yeah.
because you started off the podcast. It sounds like you were kind of born with just this like mentality of greatness, which I do think very successful people have a level of just grit and tenacity and discipline. But in your story, there was clearly a part of your life where all of this is unraveling and you're failing, and so. Talk to us about just the mentality of being in like a really bad place. I mean, because we could make this analogy for anybody listening, like whatever your problem is.
Sure. 100%.
The thoughts that come into our mind, like come out in our life. So
Yeah.
talk to us about you. I mean, you have a whole section in your book. I was looking
Yeah.
in the back here
You're
of
right
these
in it.
mental practices. So like, tell me, start to unpack that for us.
Really cool. I said a mental coach came. I was at a football game with the strength coach that came into my life, and this guy just comes up to me and like another one of those "how you doing?" I think he knew somebody in my group and threw a card at me, and like a month later, I called
Isn't
him.
that funny how the right people just come in at the right time? Like I just am a believer of those types of things, that things just happen sometimes for the right reason.
It's almost weekly with me. And I think until you open your mind up to, I want to be better and attract everything, bad stuff
Mhm.
comes too. Like you have to be careful out there as soon as you open your mind and your spirit up to the world, like everything's coming. Like, and it just gave me goosebumps because before that, my mind was closed off. Like my eyes said, you don't want to approach me. Everything about me said, like, be careful if you step into my space. But the mental guy comes, he hands me the card and took me a couple months, and I finally called him, and like he's part of my team today. 15 years later, here he is. He's part of manufacturing, he's part of design, but ultimately that mental side was like it really starts my day now. Like the physical's coming, but if I don't tap into really why I'm doing it, what I'm doing, but get grateful first. If I'm not grateful first every day, like that's my shield. And people say that all the time, but I think feeling grateful and just saying it is way different. But I can truly get in a place when I get quiet in my mind where I can go like really like all the things that I've been blessed with. And I think that's what starts my day because the world is going to come at each and every one of us every day. It comes at you, it's going to come at me. But if we get that start, that fresh start every day, like just how blessed are we to be here today and an opportunity to possibly inspire somebody else to be better. And so the mental side is everything. I'm tapping in every day. Obviously, he's in my book. He helped me write the book. He helped me live the book the last 15 years. And so I think without that piece, again, very difficult for me to sit here and have a conversation with you today.
Brent, I think a lot of people talk about this morning routine, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it is so important. But can you give our listeners, like, give us what's the first 20 minutes of your day?
Yeah.
Do you do it every single day? I mean, full disclosure.
Every
Like, what
single,
is,
if I miss a day, it's because either I'm going to church or, I have a 6:30 meeting. But if I don't at least get a moment, like I taught my guys at my other businesses, like life's coming all day long in business. And before you take an important meeting, like you need to clear the rest of that stuff out for 30 seconds. If that's still going on in your mind, when you step into a room full of people that are wanting some kind of exchange on a high level, like you better be prepared to give it your full attention or you're going to get beaten in that room. And so when I learned to tune the rest out, even if it's 30 seconds, 1 minute, like that's everything. So every day, uh, 325 days out of the year, I get 15 to 20 minutes, just me, just getting quiet, tuning into my body, which I didn't know was possible. That's a whole nother level when you can actually feel your body. Like it's like golf. It's like anything that we do, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's whatever we're doing, education, the more. And here I am 15 years later, finding out new tools and how to get to that place even quicker. But there's so many people talking about it. There's so many books written about it, but it just takes repetition until, and I'm not done. And that's the cool part about all this, whether it's bodybuilding, whether it's our mind, like it's adventure, it's change, it's free. Like you just have to want it. Like nobody, it's really free. Like it's on my website, it's on your website. It's how you speak, it's how I speak. And like that's where the real good stuff is because it's adventure. Change is adventure for me, and I want to change every day.
yeah. Yeah, I am not great about consistency. It's
Okay.
been something I've worked on for the last couple of years, but one thing I've really tried to do, and it doesn't always happen in the morning for me, but like you were saying, you're walking into an important meeting or you're doing whatever. I talk to my patients all the time about box breathing, and there's
Yeah.
9,000 techniques on YouTube, six,
Yeah.
seven, eight breathing, whatever it is. But I think breath work is so important because I think it allows you to take back control when you're feeling like things are coming at you 1,000 miles per hour. So I love breath work. I love body awareness, just like closing your eyes, hearing the sounds. taste, smell. There's so many things you can do to kind of like tap in. And really what it's doing is tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system that just says like, I'm safe, I'm secure. And it allows you to actually get control of your mind again, when so much of our life is like stress and go and gas full pedal, which is great in particular situations and scenarios.
Yeah.
But I love that. And I can just get bits and pieces in your book, but that's
but it also
kind of
prepares you to go. Like part of today was, all right, I want high energy, right? But it can also calm me. So there's a couple different ways to go at it, but most of the time it's high energy for me. Like I want to bring in that energy even when I'm training. Like those last reps, or if I'm getting ready to do pull-ups and I've got 11, 12 pounds on me in addition, like it's just tougher. You gotta get there in your breath for me to get out of it what I want out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So then your third pillar is spiritual.
Yeah.
Tell us about, in your journey, has God and religion and faith been something that's been there from the beginning, or is this something that you came into, you know, in a time of crisis?
Yeah. So brought up in a church, was baptized at 8 years old, but that, you know, I think when it's kind of brought to you, you don't really connect to it. And I think until
like
really,
something you did.
Yeah. And I think until 15 years ago, when I realized like, I can't do this on my own. I know that my Lord Jesus Christ, my Savior, the man that died for me, is there for me because he brought all these amazing people and organizations into my life that I haven't even mentioned. Like it was all at once for me too. It wasn't like, oh, you get one here this week and one next week. Like I was a real knucklehead and God sent them. That's the only way I can look at it. The grace of God. He sent all these amazing people, organizations to help me all at once. And I think that's kind of part of my story too, is like if you can go on a diet, or you can, you know, go exercise, or you can go, okay, I'll cut back on that. Like I went all in on all this, like how am I going to be better? I wanted to see the needle move. And I think in my life, like I'm still looking for the next thing, right? Like that never ends. But I think if you don't take it all in, I had Mike Chandler in here, MMA guy who's getting ready to fight again. You probably heard about it. And that's what I heard from him 2 years ago. It's like, and you got to know, like when your life's in risk, like you better be doing everything you can to protect yourself. And I really look at my own life like that. Like I want everything I can possibly find to be as healthy, as strong as I can be. And I think I've tried to do that. Did I answer your question? Oh, from the spiritual side, a guy sent me, and this is a really amazing little story that's in the book. When I went to Phoenix, of course, the life coach came in, the trainer came in. A friend of mine knew I went to Phoenix and I was looking for a church, not real hard, but I was looking. He contacted his pastor in Ohio, which is where I came from. And that pastor sent me a Bible. And it's a Maxwell Business Bible, which I still have today, and wrote some really amazing things in it. Never met him for 7 years, but he led me to a church in Phoenix called Church Christ of the Valley. And I'm still connected with them, and one of the biggest churches out there. And I got some cool stories with the pastor, who was kind of my brother. He might have been my bigger brother at that time, but we were just like, he was always challenging me, and we just have some really cool stories together. But ultimately, all these processes and people and organizations got me tuned in to knowing that like Brent Yates didn't have a lot figured out. And the more people that came around me to lift me, like the gravity of up, that's where that's all at. Now today I'm pulling because, all these people are pushing, but then it was just people pushing. I really wasn't doing any pulling. And that's really where the magic is, when all that's working together. But yeah, from a spiritual side, like that all had to change for me, or I had to have these principles that I really believed in, which I always did, but I didn't always live by. And once I really tapped into like, who do you want to be? Who do you want people to think you are? But ultimately, where do you want to go when you die? And that was really the decision for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think spiritual is different for so many people, but I think it's kind of like what is your life mission? And I think so many people are just like driving down the road, and they don't really honestly sometimes know where they're going. And I think it's okay to not always know, and you can always turn, and you can always reinvent, you can always, recreate, but it's about figuring out how to leave those ripples. And spiritual really always leads you back to just this safe and secure place. And I love that. I love that, Brent.
Full-time cheerleader for our lives.
That's right.
You and I have been in front of the spotlight, and we dig that, like the people's energy. like I found out I had a full-time guy cheering for me and pulling for me in a different way. I didn't see it that way before. It was more of a, like, you got to get in there. And now it's like, really? Like, he's on my side. Like, look out.
Yeah. And, like that we're all beautifully imperfect too, you
Yes.
know, like we do sin and it's just it's okay.
Yeah.
The Gravity of Up, you guys go check it out. What else, Brent? What other nuggets are in here that people should know about?
Oh man, I think the stories in there, I think through my transformation, I just got chills. Like having empathy for where I'd been. I never had empathy before. Like you get up, you get with it. That's what I was taught. Like if you boo boo your toe, like put a band-aid on it.
You just crushed your competition and moved on.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if you're going with me, like nothing stops us. And I think once I realized that you're stoppable, then I developed empathy. And I think there's a really amazing two, maybe three amazing stories in there where I now felt that, and I wanted to help people out of where they were. My wife and I started a foundation 8 years ago called Restore Us, and it was really about like helping people out where they were. Like that became like that giving receiving thing, like everybody talks about it, but I think until you really do that. And I used to write checks all the time. As growing up, I didn't have time to really help people. I could write a check and you moved on, but you never felt it. When we started the foundation, that all changed. And before that, and that's where those stories come from, where I went into children's hospitals trying to put myself in places where I hadn't been before, and seeing kids that were like well less advantaged than and I felt like the big guy, and they fed me. Like getting fed by a child with cancer in one leg, like I had tears in my eyes many times going, Brent, here you are. You think you got something rough? Like, and those kids gave me the energy of like, how are you doing today? Like there's one of those stories in there, and a story of a assistant that came into my life. I was single, and she was like taking care of my life so that I could go out. She saw I was starting to write the book, and she saw I was starting to speak. This was probably 10 years ago. And like she did everything in my life to help me so that I could get to even you today. And she just inspired me, and died of cancer during that process. But there's a story in there that will crush you about that lady, and how she said I kept her alive, and for an extra year, by wanting to see where I went and helping me through life. And it's like, really, me, like my purpose for my purpose. She said I was her purpose. And so that's another story in there. There's a great golfing story in there, but my early life, when mom and dad are like you're going to be tough or you're not, and I made a decision to be tough. And now I'm going, all right, well, I got empathy. I'm still pretty tough. I want what I want, but ultimately I want to take people with me, and I want to go wherever we can go, and that's as high as we can go.
Love that.
Yeah,
I think sometimes we don't realize the impact we have on people,
yeah,
and people don't always openly share that. But people are always watching. People are always watching what you're doing, and even when you think you're down low, it's there's something to be gained there. So take me back to your life story. Construction,
yeah.
then you're in the natural gas world. That's not
Yeah,
what you do now.
right.
So bridge us there.
Yeah, so 7 years ago, I sold the natural gas business. They went to a public company, what became a public company within just a couple months. And they wanted me to kind of do what I'm doing today, inspire people through what I knew, all the knowledge I had gained for 30 years in the business, and people and culture, and which I love to share, and I love to build businesses today. But I knew there was something greater for me. And so, well, I didn't know what it was. So 7 years ago today, it took about 3 years, and I didn't know. I hadn't started the book yet. None of that had come to me. So we're probably talking 2020. I'm doing long drive golf ball contests. I'd done two of them. I'm 60. I was 60,
Ah,
60 years old, and so I'd done two of them. I just got a 48-inch long driver, and I ended up doing some training that really tore my shoulders up. I didn't know it, but I was overcoming my shoulders with my core. But I didn't know it in training. So I had this TRX with a band. And anyway, I was doing it on my own, and pretty stupid. But ultimately, in a swing, I tore my supraspinatus. And so down to my knees, my life completely changed. A dream came within, like right after the surgery. Like it's the start of the book. It's a mountain climb, and it's really quite moving. But ultimately, I was challenged by God. Like, what are you going to do now? I've given you all these advantages. Yes, but I kept asking, like, why did I have to tear my shoulder? Like, it was COVID. some protocols changed. So I didn't get into some doctors that I was trying to get because I knew I had a problem. But like that, like my life changed. And so I started the book within a week. I'm over the pool table writing because I can't get hold of my arm. And I'd go downstairs and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, it's time I write this book." And, a lot of people had wanted me to write the book that had seen the stories and lived the life with me. And for Christina, my wife, I'd been with her 4 years at this point, but she got to see all the people that were in my life and hear all the stories and really met them through the wedding and those years. And so she kept going like these are incredible stories. And I think until you get somebody going, you live your own life, right? I think until you get people in your life going, you need to share your stories. And then the message unaudible from God, like, what are you going to do now? So started to write the book. And then pretty soon I started losing muscle. And it was like, all right, I'm now 60 years old, maybe almost 61. And I'm like, I'm losing muscle. It's now going back to my core or my stomach. And I'm like, so I went, that whole process started in that moment. Within 2 months of each other, like really my purpose changed. I wrote the book. It went to #1 on the Wall Street Journal. And now I have a platform. And now Ion comes and it all came together. But I wasn't looking for anything. Something I was looking for, I didn't know what, I knew would come, but when it happened, like that was it. Like I still didn't know, but in the moment it all happened for me.
Excellent. Okay, so you heard Brent talk about Ion. So it's AION, but
Yes.
For the people on YouTube, you get to see this. I'm gonna put this sucker on, but tell
All right.
people, Brent, what the heck is Ion?
So Ion,
what is it?
Yeah. Ion is Greek mythology, but it's lifetime. And for me, this is, my purpose is lifetime. This body, the gift that we got from God, like this is what we're supposed to be taking care of. And so through the shoulder surgery, I said I lost muscle. I'm like, well, I got to load my body. I tried weight before in my life, but it always hurt my shoulders. It always hurt my neck, and it was uncomfortable. And I love fashion, love women's fashion. You look really good in that, by the way. Love women's fashion.
YouTube here. Which one is this? Yes, I have a long sleeve shirt on under here.
Yeah. And you've seen it without the shirt, and which I think looks amazing. So, love women's fashion, love fashion in general. So, as I went around the country training and developing this, like no one was wearing weight. Literally, like 1 out of 1,000 people, and I'd seen thousands in 2021 through 23, and like nobody's doing it. It's like the most simplest principle. Like the strongest people on the planet, they load their bodies. I went back to the construction thing and went, well, I got to load my body. Like I was huge, I was thick, big traps. And, I lost muscle really fast. And again, I had all this dead weight now, which I did not want to have. So I went to the marketplace, went to Google and said, hey, find me something that, does everything at once. Well, it wasn't out there. And so I combined fashion, the compression, the fractional loading. And then so within 2 years, I really started in 2022. I brought a team together in late 22, maybe early 23. And here we are today. But ultimately, like it traps your body heat as well. So you've got the compression, you become one with the weight, which is amazing because there's no pain. You have all the gains with no pain. Like I couldn't find that out there. And started loading my body up and gained the muscle back. And as I started through the process, putting it on women, and they're like, well, we know we need to load our bodies. We're going in the gym, but we're not loading our bodies. And I was like, well, I'm going to fix that. And so we've got a lifestyle vest, which that's really, my wife shops in that. She lives life in that. I hope you're doing the same.
So Brent started the podcast with one on, but he got too hot and had to take his off. But I mean, I've seen weighted vests before, but here's the deal. I grew up as a 3-sport athlete. I was a collegiate athlete. I've been in lots of big gyms, worked with a lot of trainers. I'm now the team physician for a professional volleyball team. I don't see people training in weighted vests. So tell people what's different about the Ion vest compared to just, I don't know, going on Amazon and ordering a weighted vest.
Well, truly everything.
Besides the fact that it looks fabulous.
Here's what I figured out in the gyms. Number one, we started with me. Like I wanted my muscle back. And the strongest people on the planet, that's how they gain muscle. Right back to the cavemen. They had bigger bones. They had to take care of their muscle. And so I knew that I needed to load my body. And so no one was really doing it. And again, I knew I needed to, but again, it hurt. So hence the compression. No one has that. When I went to the patent attorney, it's like, well, no one has put all these modalities together. And then the compression, the neoprene, like it's
Yeah. So
synthetic.
what he's talking about, this is snug.
Yeah.
Like it's snug. It's not hanging.
Yeah. And so the compression, as I studied it, then the vascular proponent started. I never had a vascular proponent when I trained. And I was looking in the mirror going, oh, what's going on? And then I thought about the socks you used to wear on a plane or all the compression items that were out there. So now we're really hijacking recovery in the moment we hit like level 2, level 3. Have you seen that in your own body where it's like, what's going on here? And you've noticed a difference, I know. We haven't talked at all
Yeah, I
about
mean, so
nutrition.
there's definitely thoracic compression. So I always think of it kind of like, like BFR training. Like you provide that
Exactly.
resistance to the blood vessels and the lymph vessels, and then you train and you've got everything pumping, and then when you take it off, it's actually kind of euphoric.
Yeah. So when you put it on, you're carrying it, going, really? I want to carry that around. And then before you put it on, it's like, really? Do I want to do that today? But
Well, when I was holding it,
Yeah.
it feels heavier. It feels heavier just like holding it in my hands than it does on my body.
Right.
Like holding it in my hands, it felt like it was 20 pounds. Then I put it on my body and I'm like, well, I don't know. Is this really like weighted? I mean, it doesn't feel like it's holding me down that much, but there's different weights for the women's and the men's, right?
There is.
The men's
There
weigh
is.
a little bit more.
The men's weigh a little bit more. Typically, well, we go from 7 pounds to 22 pound in the men's. The women's are from 5 to 7. But ultimately, I tested this on gymnasts and bodybuilders, and it was like, oh, the 7 pounds was too much. 5 pounds was perfect. So it's really like a 3 to 5%. For women, it's about 3% of your body weight, and then for men, it's around 5. But then you've got the extreme guys. I've got some golfers, and the Rolk's wearing 20 pounds. I don't know if you know who Rolk is, but he's wearing 20 pounds. So we can go wherever you want, but for 99%. For me, I'm at 11 pounds. And I went to 16 and what slowed me down? You don't want to slow down. Like we want to go the same speed, same workout. Like there's ways that you can get like huge amounts of calorie burn if you use the proper program. But ultimately, if you don't slow down, you do the same workout, huge benefits. Like we can go across the board depending on the intensity of your workout. But I'm always intense, as you can tell. And so my body transformed in a matter of 2 years. I put a picture in Muscle Fitness magazine in 2022, I think it was. I did an article. Like my veins are everywhere. Like I never had that, but it's all the compression. Which is truly recovery, which is amazing. Like inflammation. Like as soon as we put it on wrestling, as soon as we put it on the pro sport teams, who like the trainers and all the innovators, like they already got that. Like they knew what weight was, but none of the guys will wear them. Like that's where we're at now. We think we'll have it on every Division I team in the country, probably in the next 18 months. So it just started. We just started that, I think 2 weeks ago, going into schools, and they're like our guys aren't wearing them. No one will wear them. We know the benefits, but no one will wear them. They look terrible. They hurt. And we changed all that. Like nobody has what we have in the marketplace.
But yeah, I mean, you think about like doing a workout or doing a whole basketball practice, with this thing on and then taking it off. And now you're like, you feel superhuman. It's like doing plyometrics when they take the band off and you're like, oh my God, now I feel like I can jump 20 feet in the air.
That's it.
But you can also just wear this around. Like I think about being a mom and, if I don't have time to get a workout in, but I got to take my kid to practice and I got an hour while they're warming up, I can take laps around the field, with this on, and it's just that little bit of extra, resistance.
Yeah. So for me, they ask what resistance is. Like if you've tested it, like I do about 75% of what I could do without the vest. Like if I'm doing 10 pull-ups, it's now 7. Some people can get, like if it's out of 30, if you're doing 3 sets, it's usually around 23, 24 with that vest on. I consider it 25% resistance on your body. Like if I'm doing push-ups, like I don't know if you've tested yours, but I've tested mine for about 3 years and on a lot of people. So resistance is always typically like no one, even in the gym, like even the bodybuilders, like they're doing a few squats, there's some kettlebells, and I think it's perfect for CrossFit, just adds more resistance. But ultimately, nobody's carrying anything. You're sitting on your butt in the TV, people are bringing you food. Nobody's carrying anything anymore, and we're really missing out, especially the females who don't go to the gym typically anyway. And so I think it's perfect for them. I think that soon others are coming and going, like why wouldn't you wear weight and really protect your body? So you're the doc. I've got kinesiologists, physiologists, trainers, and it's really cool in the process, as I started bringing it to those guys and head trainers, the LA Lakers, like it goes on and on. Ohio State Buckeyes, Minnesota, Detroit Tigers are wearing it. PGA golfers are wearing it, like Rory McIlroy, like Wyndham Clark, like he won the U.S. Open last year. It goes on and on. But you have to spread the word until you put it on. Like if I said, hey, to you even, like I don't want to wear weight. I don't think you were wearing weight, but now I bet you're missing a workout. I feel like I miss out a workout a week if I don't wear the vest. So I work out that additional workout. So I feel like I pick up a workout a week just by putting that vest on. And at my age, like I need every advantage I can get.
Yeah. So talk to people
Yeah.
about the technology though of this like fractional weight,
Yes.
because when I think of weighted vests, I typically think of they've got like, a bar of weight that's like sitting in here. Tell people why this ion vest is different.
Sure. So we put weight other than for women. There's no weight in the chest for obvious reasons. So you have weight everywhere else on the vest. For the men, it's throughout. About 400 steel slugs in the men's vest. And then it's in a pad that protects the weight from your body. And everything's superior from the threading to the zipper, which as soon as you zip it up, that's never coming off. And I think you kind of relate it to the scuba gear when like it's tight. You want it tight because you don't want the oxygen to fall off your back. Same kind of theory. But ultimately, it's all compressing your body. You have weight everywhere, which is the fractional loading. And now it's compressed your body where you become one with the weight. Like no other weight vest in the world. Like we're going to revolutionize, and we are, as we get out there. Like we're not even advertising yet. And so as we put it out there, people are like, okay, what is that exactly? But the fractional weighting is there's weight everywhere around your whole body. And 80% of the weight is around your core. So when you think about it, you got a little bit up here, and like it, all the dead weight is coming off your core. Everybody, like I've had a six pack for a while, but when you eat bad and us guys, or I don't know how you think of it, but I can never be good enough, right? There's always somebody better. I'm always looking at that guy, and I know that's a tool that gets me there. Nothing else on the planet can you just add to your body and go do the same workout. And then as you intensify the workout, the proponents of it really come together, and the modalities of, okay, I'm getting stronger, mostly through endurance. Like your glutes are firing all day long, especially if you're just wearing it around. If you zip it up, you're going to burn some more calories. Again, even if it's just in the daily lifestyle of your life. But ultimately, if you're training in it, if you're just doing box jumps, you don't need anything else. You could just go outside, start doing box jumps, push-ups. It's the only tool you need to stay fit.
Yeah. So when we think about caloric burn, we talk about dedicated exercise. So you can certainly wear this in the gym, but then what we call NEAT activity, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is just like I said, walking around the baseball field, taking the stairs at work. You guys have made these kind of more lifestyle friendly. You can wear them in the boardroom. You can to make them look nice, right? I mean, the idea is kind of mind-boggling to me about thinking about wearing some weighted vest in a board meeting.
Here we go.
But it's like you can just put it on. And honestly, you know what? It's almost like how people talk about I think, well, I'm going to make this analogy with women. Like when I gave my TED talk, right? Like I want to have this killer outfit on that I feel embodies me and my messaging, right? It just makes you feel, it's like women putting on lipstick. Like you come into this like persona. That's almost like what I feel like. It's like as soon as you like put it on, you're thinking about healthy things. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
It's just like, okay, boom, got it on. That makes you think about it.
Truly, that's this mindset. Like we went to the gym in the workout vest or the neoprene vest, and then we put this on. And like for me, I always say take the steps instead of the elevator. The life coach or the trainer that came into my life 15 years ago, he's like, Brent, elevators are death. Like think about
always take the stairs. Brent, you can start a trend with me. I've been hashtagging ATTS for years now. It stands for always take the stairs. And my followers, they send me videos from the airports. They send me videos from their hospitals. And now I almost laugh when I see people standing, waiting for the elevator. The only excuse I'll ever give anybody is if you've got a super heavy suitcase and you're on the 46th floor of the hotel. Okay, I'll allow it in rare occasions, but yes, but it's funny too. You know how hard it is to find the staircase in some buildings?
Yeah,
it's really hard.
It is. It is. But ultimately, this is 6 pounds. We want it to look good. nobody dresses up really, or even goes to the office much. I go into a lot of meetings and like, I look good. Like I want to look good, but really at some point now they know like I have a performance athletic gear, but ultimately it's like, really? Like, can I have one of those? Like, well, yeah, go now. I have a website. The website only opened 3 weeks ago. I mean, we just launched, but ultimately it's like, really? Like, this is swaggy. Take a walk in it, do life in it, looks good. We know that we're toning. I know that I'm toning. You don't sweat in this any more than you would a normal vest. That's not two different pieces. We're not asking you to go into the office and sweat, right? But ultimately, like, you look good and you're carrying weight, but it's the mindset of, all right, I just trained. Like, now what am I going to put in my body? And I'm going to take the stairs instead of the elevator.
Yeah. And so in the women's, there's a full length that you have crop ones.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the super midi is in development. We've developed it. We're now sizing up and down with it. So, a lot of the CrossFitters are those that are in really good shape. Like, they want to show their core. I don't blame them. And so, I think you lose some of the benefits, right? You're not going to get all the core benefits, but ultimately that's the way you want to walk around. That's the way you want to live. But it's just a whole nother way to wear weight. Looks amazing. And again, we're always about that. Any way we can get weight on it, especially a female's body. We're not doing it for the dudes. Like, I don't want to see anybody's core, nor do you probably. But for a female, we want to see that. Like, that's what we're all working towards. And I think guys used to wear crop top stuff, and it's like, no, I've never worn that. But ultimately, when I take my shirt off going to the pool, I want to look good. 63 years old, 73 years old, I'm never giving up. But for the female, like we have the crop top coming as well. And then we'll have a casual vest, like this vest, coming for a woman as well, that's not neoprene, that you can wear anywhere as well. We think, that's kind of our casual vest today, or our lifestyle vest, but all of it's coming. There's tons of runway for us, but we have to get the word out. And I know, that's how I found you, was like, you were talking about Women's Health. I found you on a TED Talk, called my guys, and like this, she's in alignment with what I'm saying, with what I'm trying to do. And then, for my team, it's like no one, and I say no one, has ever suggested to a female that she wear weight, not just in the gym, but outside of the gym. And I say no one, like a few people have, right? But when this takes off, and when people go, well, I could be training all day long. If you want to wear something over it, no one even knows. You don't even have to step into the arena, right? Like, which is a big, I think, a phobia for anyone. Like, they don't want to go in the gym. Like, you don't have to step in the arena. Like, when people see you change, though, that's when you get to have the conversation, if you so choose.
Well, and I think about bone health too, like even like an older, my mom could put this on. I just think it really can apply to anybody, you can step off a 12-inch box and just do some step downs, and you're just getting that extra load on your bones and on your muscles. And it's just such like an easy, simple thing.
Yeah.
You're not asking people to like do 100-pound farmer carries.
Right.
One thing I wondered when I got my vest was, I'm a sweater.
Yeah.
I sweat. How do you care for something like this long term?
Yeah.
If somebody's like, oh, I'm the guy that's like dripping.
Yeah. So you can spray it down with a hose. Like, you can spray bacterial stuff on it. It's all antibacterial. I probably said that wrong. Antibacterial. That's my word. Everybody else uses a different word. But ultimately,
very resistant to bugs growing up.
100%. But I don't like. It's kind of gross. But I sweat, but not like I do now. Like, everything's wet. It's all the toxins are coming out. So wipe it down. I leave it like in a window inside to dry. Spray it down with a hose, go swimming in it. I swim in mine. Like, there's nothing you can't do. You can't hurt them.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about swimming in this.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's only one thing I haven't done. I gave it to The Rock. It was brand new. I go, dude, there's only one thing I haven't done. And he goes, well, I'm on. This is brand new. So we won't go there any further. But ultimately, like, I swim in it. I've cold plunged in it. If you want to sauna in it, like, you just take that to a whole nother level. And so cleaning it is simple. We have bacterial wipes or wipes on our website as well, but anything you got, Dove soap, whatever you want to put on it. But I've never had a problem with mine. It's got kind of a synthetic smell because it is synthetic. So it's just got a tinge of that. So it hasn't picked up any of my body odor in I've never wiped mine down, just to be honest. I swim in it, so that gets it out. But it's my own pool. I'm not swimming in anybody else's pool.
Yeah, my husband was a 15-year police sergeant, so it was like brought him back to his like bulletproof vest days when he was putting his on.
And we're going
And
there as well for Chicago, New York. Like we're going
wow.
there as well. Like it won't be 100%, but what a deal! Like you can wear that out and take your walks and feel some protection. So we are building those as well. So we're innovation, like change, anything that we can do in that regard. But man, I'm having a blast.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So, Brent, people can find you on Instagram at the Brent Yates. And if you are interested in checking out Ion, it's AION.gear. At Ion.gear is their Instagram. You can
Yeah.
check it out. They've got some, they have some cool content they're starting to put out if you want to learn more about fractional weighted vests. This is like the new next level thing for your fitness and for your health. Anything else people should know about Ion, Brent?
No, I'm just really proud that you're wearing it. Like you having the doctor, like you being a doctor, you understanding it, you working with women. The most powerful women in, or people in my life are women. It's like when I dropped it on them over the last few years, my daughters, my mom, my wife, they're just like, this is cool. And so I feel like I'm just proud you're wearing it. It feels very natural. I'm betting that you won't work out without it. I don't take it out. I wear it through my entire workout. People will go, I play pickleball in it. I play tennis in it. And people are always coming up to me going like, what do you got going on? Like they can tell I'm different. I'm like, man, I don't want to have that gut. And I'll go up to people that have the bellies, right? And they're like proud of their bellies. Like, dude, you are not proud of that belly. Like drop this on, do the same thing you're doing, and it comes off of you. Like we all want to look better, I think. Not positive of that, but I think. And that's from the inside, that's from the outside. I think the book, the journal, we have a journal as well that is 365 days of things that inspire me, things that I think of, things that I've said, but there's really just two constants, love and compassion for yourself and others on one page and make someone's day. And I think if you can do that every day, the world is going to be a better place. That's what I'm after. I know that's what you're after. So proud to be associated with you.
Love that. I love that. I love your energy, Brent. Okay,
Thank
we
you.
have to talk about golf for we
Let's
just the
do it.
last couple of minutes here. I
Yeah.
have to go back to golf. So, as you're talking about being a golfer and your mental game,
Yeah.
I don't watch TV. But randomly the other night, my husband and I came upon the Netflix series Full Swing.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, we got addicted. And of course, it was like right before the Masters. And so that episode on Wyndham Clark with his mental coach,
Yeah.
Julie, I think is her name.
Yes. It's Julie.
I was so glued in. I'm like, I need a Julie to follow me around all day long. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys should go check it out. That's a plug for Full Swing on Netflix. It follows these PGA golfers and talks a lot about the live golf and the PGA kind of, I guess, should we call it a scandal? I don't know. But it's a super interesting show. And I love documentaries, first of all, but I think just these high level athletes, just like seeing how they live their lives or seeing their families, like the struggles that they go through, the things they do to get better at the game, take care of themselves. It's cool to hear that Rory and Wyndham and these people are checking out the Ion Vest too.
It's cool, isn't it?
Can you golf in this? Like you can
Absolutely.
swing a golf club, it doesn't restrict you?
So golf is all about balance. And so if you can load your core, and I learned how to hit with my core and it's been about a decade ago. And so when I learned to start the swing, maybe this is a good tip for you or anybody that's listening, the biggest muscle, the trunk, there's so much muscle right here, right? For everybody, whether it's covered up or not. Like if you can start your swing with your core, you'll come down with your core. Now at the top, I'm thinking core, and that's where all the power is. I've loaded my right side, my glute, and now I'm taking off with this core, which spins your hips. That's where the power's at. So absolutely, these golfers are not only now walking 18 holes, you can think of that workout by itself in a vest, but now they're training in it. Like they're not going to golf in it. You'll never see them on the golf course, when it's up for the real money, right? It's a training device. But ultimately, really proud that when I watch the same stuff, whether it's tennis, I love those tennis ones as well, because you really get inside these guys. But it's really like the last maybe 6 or 7 years, they're talking about team. And when you're a golfer and you're the only one out there, like it's all you, Like that is a lot of pressure. Everybody's looking at you. And then when the interview starts, it's like my team. And I was like, early on, I was like, a team. And it's their strength coach. It's their, lifestyle coach.
Yeah.
It's their mental coach, the mental side. Like we said early on, like they're all tapping into all of it. And I think the gravity of what we're talking about, every advantage you can find in this life, I don't care if you're a professional or not, like that's what it takes. People like us, people like the books, anything that you use to be better, it takes that to get through this life. And I found that out at 47 years old. Like I needed a lot of people around me to get me through this life. And I think when you open up to that, to what your messages are, like what a beautiful thing we get to do today. Like really proud again to be here and to talk with you.
I told you, I love how people get brought together.
Yeah.
Positivity, optimism, Brent. I love everything about your messaging. So for our listeners, go check out Ion Gear. You can follow Brent Yates at Brent Yates on Instagram. I'm a new fan.
Thank you so much. Ditto.
We'll check you guys on the next episode.
Did you guys love that last episode of the Fit and Fabulous podcast? Well, of course you did. And I want to keep bringing you the most amazing content from the most incredible people. And you can help me by subscribing to the Dr. Fit and Fabulous channel. You guys know where the button is. Just click it. It's the doctor's orders.